Wonderful to see that performance in the server itself, and Kawa was bringing in the numbers for Kinotrope, but numbers on their own will say nothing if we get into a map and a series of maps that do not favor you whatsoever. Border will be our first pick, and what will be the second? That would be by Crest, where they will be starting on the attack. Lair as our second. You please move on with the rest.
Of course, didn't expect the Lair to actually come through in any of these LCQs, so I'm very happy surprised to come through. Bank also to be removed, leaving only a couple of maps left standing. Clubhouse could still come through, or Night. Hey, no, Bank, sorry. Labs, there you go. I was going to say Clubhouse or Labs is probably going to be the decider to come through. It's eventually Labs that will be decided upon. So I'm pretty happy with this. That's two of the
we got Lair
maps that we have in the pool.
Are you serious? We got Lair confirmed. It's the first time we get to see it in Japan. It took a whole darn stage.
It was played in the quals, so it was played in the qualifier playoffs, but not by these teams. So we get our first taste of two tier 1 teams in Japan going against each other on Lair, which is great, as you said, very exciting. I want to see how the map handles in this region. I want to see what they can sort of bring. Ending up on Labs is the last. Yeah, curious. They both love Border, though, so I think it's going to be a bit of a brawl in this first map. It's Tree.
He's optometrist in him, yeah.
Absolutely. But our maps, here they are. Border was map number 1, as you saw, 8-7. A close win here for Kinotrope on Crest's pick. Will it be a repetition, as Kinotrope has picked up Lair? So we potentially could get both Lair and Labs, given how close this game has been, but getting Lair for the second time ever in Japan, and realistically the first time in Tier 1 Japan competition, that's something that all three of us will really have to explore in depth. So what can we pull from experience in other regions, looking Hap, to introduce Lair to our Japan League exclusive fans and viewers?
Hap can take this.
Yeah, I can show you the stats. It's not often that they completely translate across, but overall, from what I see, it's pretty defense-sided still. Like I think it's like a 55-ish%. It depends on what region you go to, of course, because there's like a lot of like the like lower tiered teams that play, and then they win like all of their rounds of defense. And then when you have some of like the higher tiered, it's more of like a 50%, 55 defense percent win rate on defense. So it is hard to say, because we haven't seen any of these teams play on it. So we don't even know if the meta carries across from what we've seen in other regions, which, I mean, it isn't too much yet either in a lot of them. So I think we just have to go into this with like an open mind, and like, again, Crest let this go through. Kinotrope picked this. Do both of them have a game? Or is it just Kinotrope that, decided to, they might have expected us to ban this, but little do they know, we are actually, very much prepared to play this.
When everything is an active firefight and everything's a cross angle, you kind of need a bit of support there. Here you'll have some runs. You'll be able to probably isolate positions a bit easier. Talking of, the C4 just out of Choppy's door underneath the site, gets Okamesh, gets the head, and that puts a bit of pressure there onto the security terrorist. Choppy's able to keep killing insecurity and briefing down here below, and here comes the Monty, here comes somebody else, and it's all a little bit too separated from the approach of Kinotrope.
It's also nowhere near the actual fight itself that has to happen over the site. You just see it, 4 of them are just chilling. No pressure whatsoever as of yet. And Kinotrope, this first round can almost be discarded, but there is still 90 seconds left. That's an opportunity to try and see if you can turn the tides. Maybe get these kills in, bring this round closer, and take it even home. Montaigne now pushing up, joining teammates, headed towards Operation. This is just a bit of a death trap, especially the mirror window on there. Players below with a nitro cell, it's almost guaranteed you'll find yourself killed if there's no verticality that way around. That barricade looks very weird to me.
Yeah, they smash their way through the weird barricade, take control of Operational, and now they're going to see if they can try and run their way along Mez here. The side is obviously a step to the left, and with the wall locked and with no direct way of breaking through it. They're just going to try and send it. You're assuming the pocket breaches might have been in the pockets of the Buck and the Capitao, but as they get removed, there's an attempt at an air jab deeper in the room. They just get rid of it with their face. The Monty wants to swing, but there's the swing around on his shoulder. There's at least the lockout. There's two. And that leaves just Mao here. Failed take underneath, which was the attempt at just clearing some of the space, led to a player who was able to get to and get out of there without being traded. From then, the round was in a very, very sticky situation, especially when the two people was Yukiz and Okamesh, the star player of this team, and especially this weekend.
Find some extra width with opening up all these barricades, all these reinforcements. Of course, a new map is being developed, especially in the region. So one of the easiest way to deal with it on the defense is just to turtle down. Let them do their jobs, let them work, let them figure it out. But as Okamesh is slowly starting to come through, he has a ping, he knows of one of these players, and he's just trying to find the right angle to be able to engage them. As Kinotrope is going for a very heavy lateral take, with only a single player up above to provide that support vertically. But this seems like it's just going to be a complete brawl.
They have the ping from the player, and the smoke will slow it down to allow the rest of the roamers to get themselves closer back towards the site itself, see if they can offer some of the support. I see 6 red outlines. Obviously not the case. There's an encircling of both teams in this position. You can see at least the Deimos' mask on the far side. They're trying to just isolate. The Grimbees will get a bit of a reveal. They haven't been able to get rid of a player yet. There's at least some destruction as Arcully finds Okamesh once again. Removed before they can really have an impact. The bees are gone. The pressure against the Keebers. And here's the charge of Alkayu. Straight through lockers. Straight through. On towards labs. They're sort of putting a toe in. But as everybody gets dropped elsewhere, they're at least able to find one. However, it is just the 2 remaining players inside lockers, staring wistfully in towards one of the sites. The kid is going to be rotated round, see if they can get themselves just a second angle, but with 20 seconds, they do not have long. Where do they think they have any safety on this plant as it's all revealed on the bulletproof and the Fenrir mine? It's just a charge down the side of Toxing towards the back end of stock. It's an easy lockout here. Crest, 2-0.
So far, not too impressed with the attack IDs yet we're seeing from Kinotrope. It's a bit more of the first part of their attack that we saw on the previous map Border, where things just weren't connecting. Like at round 5, that's when things started going their way. But we kind of need to see that earlier here. You cannot pick this map knowing it's a fully defense-sided map and realizing you'll be on the attack, but then not get any of these attack rounds in. They need to start soon. And how effective has the Monty been so far? Sure, it's a shield. I don't think it's really succeeding in the shepherding or in guiding the team. I think it's way more valuable to have another gun on the board that can be active firing, rather than the Montaigne, which is the shield everybody's hiding behind currently and expecting to make waves happen. And bypass the mute jammer that is on the other side. That way the breach will still be completed. And as the pressure over the top floor is starting to come through, a minute has passed. They still need to go down 1 floor. Which means that, you know, they kind of need to clear this out in the next 50 seconds or so they can start working on the actual site itself. Because that's the thing. We haven't seen any, like, real site action yet whatsoever in these last 2 rounds.
Well, the first one falls, now gets it, and then Rento is able to make sure that they don't suffer too long, but Cow is there on the trade. It's an encircling around the pressure onto our 6th room, but back and forth. Crest stepping in on towards Display, on towards Master, and that forces now Kinotrope, who got the first step in, just throwing gadgets, hoping that it isn't punished. They know that 2 of the remaining players are up here. They might try and isolate this as a 2 versus 2, but look round on the other side of Skybridge. There's a big rotate that's happened from the 3rd Crest player. They've got themselves close enough to maybe react, and they're at it. Lure from Skybridge gets the cut across and locked out finally. bit too far, a bit too much of a distance to cover. Crest, 3 rounds in a row, as I said. Wouldn't be surprised by the 5-1 defensive half. It's definitely going to be a game of 2 halves.
I'd expect it to be. Especially the new map. We've mentioned it before. Every single time this happens and a new map comes out, it's just very defense-sided.
With the breach on towards Master's office, it's maybe the first time we've seen them with a proper glimpse in towards the site and not somebody shooting them in the face in response.
Al just being so afraid of someone coming in from the opposite side that he's proning over this balcony trying to make happen what needs to happen, which is the opening towards the ops side. And that gives them the opportunity to, once they take ops, to really come in from 2 different angles. And they're aware of Arcurly's current position. And he's the only one that's currently inside itself trying to hold it off, and as it's being droned, they should be aware of that. So where is the support to come in from? Where are they going to be at? On the side of Crest.
They've got themselves closer and closer, but without the kill onto Arcurly, they're just going to have to try and send it. They don't have anything for direct cover apart from flashes and throwing themselves in, and this is that sort of missing element of the take here. There's still 2 C4s to long arm and refuse this. There's the roll. They're hoping the EMP will catch the C4 that gets thrown out, but it's the cover and the kills and the second C4 that connects it. 30 seconds though, and as it's still traded out, a 2 versus 3 is how it ends. Lua, Choppy and Eclair well aware of where this is being attempted. There's 1 more C4 that could be thrown, but the sneaky approach around the side of Mez is called out and caught. But it's a 1 versus 2. 8 bullets in his gun if he pops up and goes for the fight, which he does. But a C4 is so close to clutching that one out there. Trade of the gadgetry and a kill. Rough, buddy. A patch for working on the game. Pretty cool. 4 rounds. Pretty cool, Crest. But at this point, you know Kinotrope are getting closer and closer. Smash. Always rewarded for patience, Arcurly. Caught out, just drifting idly by. And now with that, they have some options. They're starting from the top. Instead of going in on the basement, as they did last time, they're starting all the way at the top and then just underneath themselves. The team is staying together, and because of that, look at this. Perfect execution, perfect close down. Suddenly, there's a succinct idea of what they're trying to run in, and the 2 remaining players floating around in this space are under a fair bit of danger. You've got Rento that wants to try and lean his head around the corner. It's being called on a cam, and Lua, or Claire even, I was going to say, when they got the kill onto Okamesh, they weren't a million miles away, but with Rento being caught by the Monty, it is now just turned into a team that is much more driven. Eclair, get out of there. You don't want to toe-to-toe with the Monty in this stage. It is something, as we said, a play space that works much better for them.
That first kill really did wonders for them, finding themselves in a perfect position now to try and lock themselves off with a round on the board that they've gathered an attack. Oh, 1 caught there as they're trying to commit towards this side. Choppy has found himself with top floor control. And look at that. Eclair is there as well now. So they're going to try and play this from up top. Cameras are giving away the position here. Pings are starting to come through. I don't think that there is any safe area. You saw as well, Choppy just dropped down. He's going to be using the smokecaster he had to try and stop the plan from happening. However, it is about to be confirmed. 45 seconds ticking down in a 2v3 retake with 1 up above and 1 down below.
I mean, it's the second plant or so they've got over the 2 maps. The Monty was just charging through and looked a bit irritated that the kill was stolen twice. Kinotrope. They find the 1 that they wanted, the 1 that I sort of requested, and it was by far the best round that they have played so far on this map. It was so together. They realized what Crest were doing. How Crest were playing just above the site last time round, and instead of entering on the basement where they were entirely punished because, well, they couldn't go any further because they didn't have the vertical, they had to go for big rotates, start at the top, tread it a little bit like how you would Cafe. Get yourself on the top 2 floors, get yourself working steadily down, force them around that basement. If they want to stay, fine, they can die, or move on. And that was the position. That was the angles. You saw the player on the hatch. It was just sticking around. Crest overstaying a welcome. Security, they've done the pressure on towards bunks. That's going to make it a much more dangerous place to stay.
Breach made. Closer towards the site they get, slowly and steadily. There's still so much control that needs to be gained. You see there as well, the hatch is being played, it's active. You cannot just sneak in and try and go for a plant. Unless they do see that it's not being occupied right now, and they do find the opportunity. Okamesh again, waiting patiently. Akayo getting stuck into a goo mine, gets some of the information read. Wanting to breach here, but doesn't quite know if it's safe to go for it. I think that's too late. Yep, there goes the breach. The bandit sleeping, couldn't actually get back one of the batteries in time and try and replace it. And suddenly the side is under a lot more pressure.
Yeah, I mean, whether that was the single one that the Twitch was able to get hold of, but has made a massive gaping hole in the side itself. Now they still don't want to throw themselves in, but with 30 seconds, their options are running a bit thin. As is Kawa's blood. Akali gets the first. Lua gets the second on towards Yuki's. Now the 4 versus 3, or 5 versus 3 even. Ooh, gets half of a castle and expects the fight to come back round, but with 14 seconds, Crest are not leaving anything to fate. Missed it. Drifted on Bayer. There's at least one to make it not a flawless. There's 2, but with 3 seconds left and just spraying at ghosts. Only get 1 more on a down. 5-1. Hey, look at that. I called it. Let's see if it's something that could be reflected on the other side.
Confused on how that round eventually played out. They got so much done on the top, on the middle floor. They had direct side access, and then with 30 seconds left, some people are still rotating up towards the top.
I think.
Yeah.
They saw an opportunity on the wall at the bottom of green. And that changed up their original plan, and they got a bit too focused onto it. Because you saw them throw smokes in and then not do anything.
This was also worrying.
Pass it.
Just smokes.
But yeah, I think they just. It's like when you get to a buffet and there's suddenly a new option, and you're like, "Do I have room for this?" And you already have 13 plates of pasta, and you're like, "I've dropped all my pasta now." That happened to you at home? As they did before, but it's Yuki's that gets the first. Choppy is taken out, and those aren't his speed lines. That's his first kill. That's just him celebrating the bandit charge, keeping that wall solid. I mean, it's a funny one to try and take out. There as Okamesh takes out Lair at the bottom of the rocket stairs. Reception. And that leaves now trying to find their way through. They still have the Ossa, the kid in the hands of some hard destruction, and a ping on a player here on the main stairs. There goes the robot Okamesh. And there suddenly goes Alkayu. It's a 3 versus 3, 20 seconds. The Ossa's trying to find a way in the door. If they can get rid of the cover there on towards the wall, they can push behind it. Declare's able to find it. 15 seconds, 2 remaining players, Mao and Yukiz, who hasn't really been able to have a big impact on this round, but has these moments, usually locked up, cannot find a way around. There's one, there's the cover on the Ossa, missed out, and now he's suddenly in the middle of a firing range, and great step-by-step build back into that round, and now 5-1 to a 6-1. And that is a terrifying place to sit, Kinotrope.
As I said, really good that they managed to get the 1 round, because it gives them a buffer. Just a shame that they've already used it now, and they find themselves 5 map points behind. However, what we also know from the previous map and other maps is that for some reason Kinotrope just starts playing like 10 times as well as they usually do when they're map points behind, because they just love to go to overtime.
Nope. Result here, but I guess it just goes to show, right? Obviously, you know, it's the first round on their attack. I called that maybe it would be 5-1 halves, but if the 1 is the first one you get, it puts you in a very tricky situation, and this is the other compliment I paid towards them. They can be so direct. And they have a ping on the player. It's a shotgun round a corner, but the Jackal, ooh, just pre-fired, gave the game away. They wanted to swing out.
Never trusted.
flashes onto it, the track on the player, blind him out, force him into a tricky position. And they're trying to get an ops above as well to maybe shoot down upon them. There is some support not too far away from Mao that if they get not as much attention, they could try and surprise them. The shield of Lure, though, working their way down closer towards the fight itself. They're clearing from the top down, and the first is Alcayu. The smoke gone early on.
Not a great start here for Kinotrope. That smoke was in a crucial point of this round, especially when you're dealing with a Monty. We're still having it to chunk of left. Playing around, could use the Shumiko launcher to try and burn them out from a plant spot. But with 90 seconds left and the attack having an advantage, knowing of at least one of these players due to Jackal tracks, you see them starting to slowly open up near the side to get themselves ready. They will be committing very soon. And there's still a very heavy roam game. There's 2 players all the way up top. Monty is going to be spotting the Vigil just running away right now. Mao is playing around there as well. It could be a 5-on-2 on the side if they go for an execute in any second now. And, you know, if that happens, they need to be back super quickly if they want to have an opportunity of having impact in the round.
Talking of impact, Arkali is gone. They've put themselves in the 4 versus 4, and they're going to fight for every second. The flashes start to force them closer and closer away. As the plant is being secured, Lua trying to get it locked in. Mao's able to get a kill in the same time against Choppy, but it's a post-plant situation with the Monty. There's a bit of fire in the middle of it, but Kawa, around the side, gets the kill. However, how can they try and fight their way through? Because the vertical... well, it's being held off on. There's a single player that's trying to retake it. They know how important it is. It's 2 1 versus 2s, and one of them has just won out. Eclair goes massive. The next fight is important. There's Eclair with the cover from above. Okamesh was trying to get the defuse, and Eclair wins that round. But truly, that map was all Crest's 7-1.
Crucial position in there for McLaren, and indeed a 7-1. That's a devastating blow on the map pick of your opponents. And instead of before, they left it. They let it go through. They were comfortable to play here. And definitely playing they did. And as a Kinotrope fan, you'll now be wondering, oh no, this is not how I saw this match going. And now they need to go towards a 3rd map to decide which of these 2 teams is going to be playing tomorrow to potentially find themselves a spot at the major. So, let's get to a quick break. We'll be back soon.